couple of baits here for Jason. We're going to make one of my favorites here on Mark Twain. Some of this is a little bit of stuff that I have not really packaged and sold, so it's a little bit of a, I don't know what you want to call it, it's a little insider trading secret here a little bit. Makes difference to me, it might not make difference to the fish, but I think it does. But what we're making here is basically what most people would consider to be a Colorado, but it's not. It's the wide willow Oklahoma blade that I'm pretty partial to. And in the early part of the year, in the colder water especially, so early, this is a bait that it's pretty much exclusively the only thing that I throw until we get a lot further along in the spring, which happens pretty quick here. You know, once it starts to warm up, sometimes it didn't take long to transition from almost the dead of winter until we get into thinking about early spawn and things like that. But this bait's going to have a lot of vibration to it. It's going to have some flash to it as well. And we get this thing thrown together, we'll take a little better look at it. And I actually don't have this one listed on my website, so don't try to go there and find this bait yet. But if you look at that, those are two Oklahoma style wide willow scale pattern blades run together. That's a 4 and a 4.5 on a 3/8 bait. And you guys know, because I've divulged this to them, but this is an absolute killer bait out here on Mark Twain in the spring in cold water. Bladed jig is probably the first bite out here a lot, but immediately right behind that, just a few more degrees in water temp, and this thing right here is dynamite. So we're going to make him up some for Jason. We're going to make up some in nickel. We're going to make some here in gold. We're going to make some 1/2 ounce. We're going to make some 3/8. Skirt colors. Well, we haven't built any skirts ahead of time here, so we'll throw some skirts together right quick here. And you can tell I'm extremely organized, but we're gonna go with primarily some white or shad colored stuff, because I don't try to make it too complicated. A lot of times it's more the reaction to the bait than what every little color is. So we're gonna build him one of my favorites here. This is a white chartreuse shad skirt color, which you really can't go wrong with just about any time. That's a little skirt making tool I had a guy give me.
Kind of a handy thing.
Yeah, he was doing this years ago, and then he got into doing it on more of a production scale rather than one at a time like what I do, and he didn't have any use for it, so he let me have it. But anyway, just makes things a little handier and a little quicker than some of the skirt tools. I always try to do this for everybody's. I mean, I don't do anything that's easy and anything that's fast. I try to make something that's, you know, that I would throw. That's what I've said all along. I'm not trying to mass produce anything. I'm not making anything be very quick and easy. I just make it the way that I want it. So anyway, that's the chartreuse shad skirt color. We'll put that on the bait, see what it looks like here. And, you know, depending on the skirt color that you're building and putting together, sometimes you've got to position the skirt a certain way to get your highlight colors where you want them, where they should be, what have you. Do a little, most of them are having a bad hair day by the time you put them in there, so you trim them up a little bit, and that's...
Looks really good.
Yep. And again, I can't really I can't really steer you to my website even to buy this bait yet. We'll get there. But
So
that is a killer bait.
So what's your target water temperature on that bait? If you want to say.
Well, you know, it's not that a bladed jig has to be thrown first. I mean, that I tend to lean that way, and till the water gets, you know, I mean, bladed jig as soon as you get where you can't stand not to go. You know, here, as soon as it warms up enough, you want to go out and see if you can catch a fish. I pretty well throw a bladed jig. I will have a spinnerbait tied on too, but seems like that does a little bit better for me on Mark Twain here. Probably, you know, the magic number on Mark Twain's been around 50 degrees. Main Lake gets to 50 degrees. I mean, the creeks may get warmer before that. You get a warming trend, whatever. You may catch a fish up the creek. But Main Lake holds overnight and gets to, for sure, 50. You catch them on a bladed jig right before that, mid 40s, up to 50. Seems like 50 to 55. Once you get to 55, it kind of becomes more of a spinnerbait bite, I think, than a bladed jig bite. But both, they'll both catch fish. You know, if you have a preference, fish whichever one you got confidence in. But there's one in nickel. We'll throw a 1/2 ounce together here too, and it's got a little different size blades on it. We'll build one of those right quick. Pick it up from here. Yep, the old chartreuse and white. You'll be the only one out here throwing one of these this spring. You know that, right?
Yeah, I'll be the only one.
Yeah, you'll be the only one throwing one of these things.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to beat on the lake.
It's probably, if you had one skirt, that's probably what, you know, you couldn't throw any other color. And well, you couldn't go wrong.
Nope.
Now, one thing about building that skirt, you know, that's kind of an old school color or whatever you want to call it. That's what I call it. But you kind of fold up your skirt a little bit different because you're not trying to mix these two colors. You're trying to create a, kind of like a one on each side, so to speak, right? So that's kind of the way your old standard chartreuse and white has always been. It's, you know, proven. Why change it? So
Absolutely.
Just a few little things about building some of this stuff that you kind of figure out once you do enough of it, and it makes a difference on how you actually assemble the skirt when you're putting it together. It's, you know, it's going to change what you get. You can take the same colors and make them look a little bit different depending on how you tie them together. This is something I used to fight, still fight a little bit. Part of how you separate your colors.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, like I said, I'm never going to claim to be the smartest guy, but there may be an easier way that I have not picked up on. But this is how I do it. And that's like I've said on my website. You know, if you get something from me, this is the process that's been done. I'm the one that's done it, one at a time. I make it as difficult as I can sometimes. I do not mass produce anything. I do buy the spinnerbait heads. You know, they're already painted and together. I don't pour any lead, even with the jigs. I found somebody that's making most of my jigs, pouring them, putting, you know, with the hooks and whatever. I'm doing all the painting on the jigs, but spinnerbaits come painted. Everything else I'm painting them myself, powder coating them. So, same bait in your old school chartreuse and white. That's in a 1/2 ounce. Got a little bit bigger blade on it. And when Jason's catching them this spring, you'll know what's happening.
Yeah, there you go.